Watching, I'm Lester Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night.
This program lineup is brought to you by Vision Express.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvil's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adai Itan program. Apply at matson.com. Cars Plus starts something new sales event going on now with up to 20% off on Jeep Gladiators. Get to Cars Plus today. And McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
A much-needed boost for our power grid. The Guam Power Authority has been selected for a new federal program that they say will help get the island more reliable and sustainable energy. I'm Mitsuki Hirayama with the story coming up.
With speculation swirling around President Donald Trump's efforts to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education and the uncertainty it may bring, experts are advising student loan borrowers to secure their loan data in case of any disruption.
GCC's Youth Build program is providing Guam's youth with the opportunity to learn trade skills and climb the ladder of success. I'm Adaya Anderson with more coming up.
Hafa and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Thank you so much for making this a part of your day.
Well, efforts to make the island's power grid more reliable and sustainable is amping up, and it has to do with electric vehicles.
The Guam Power Authority was recently selected by the U.S. Department of Energy for a groundbreaking pilot program to advance grid deployment and integration. Mitsuki Hirayama has the details.
The Guam Power Authority is one of 7 applicants chosen nationwide by the U.S. Department of Energy to participate in the groundbreaking Utility and Grid Operator Technical Assistance Program. The innovative program will equip GPA with the expertise and resources to develop reliable, resilient, and secure grids to meet the nation's increasing energy demands and ultimately lower your power bill. It's welcome news for ratepayers like Jigo resident Joseph Flores, who says his power bills have increased by $20 despite the recent rate drop.
That's pretty high. Pay like 600 something.
600?
Yeah.
And that's not normal for you, is it?
That's not normal.
GPA is seeking technical assistance to support the planning and deployment of Vehicle Grid Integration Technologies, or VGI, according to U.S. DOE. GPA's goal is to integrate electric vehicles and deploy chargers while ensuring grid reliability, optimizing energy usage, and delivering sustainable, cost-effective solutions. For some, it's a wait-and-see situation as to whether this effort will prove fruitful.
Do you think this will help you out as a ratepayer?
It might be, but we have to see. We have to do a trial plan, see what happens, see whether it does good or not.
It's a boon to others like Dededo resident Sancho Magdia, who's worried about the rising cost of food.
As long as if it were to help people in Guam save money and spend more money on things that matter more, then I think it'll be a good thing.
Meantime, GPA General Manager John Beneventi says, quote, being chosen for this groundbreaking program underscores GPA's commitment to advancing our island's energy infrastructure. He adds this collaboration will enhance our efforts to deliver more affordable, equitable, and reliable electricity to the people of Guam. Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Well, few details on the Trump administration's plans to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education have been released.
But questions are swirling about the impact of Trump's push to eliminate the federal agency.
Among its key responsibilities, the Fed oversees trillions in student loan debt. So what would happen to borrowers if it disappears?
Dismantling the U.S. Department of Education would require an act of Congress. Still, that isn't stopping President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk from calling for its elimination. But what would this mean for federal aid that millions of college students rely on? Right now, details remain unclear. For one, programs could potentially shift to other federal agencies or be handled by individual states. However, some worry that closing the U.S. DOE could make higher education less affordable and accessible. Students at the University of Guam sounding off.
As an education major, I do believe that education is the most valuable thing we have, and to have it become even more expensive and less accessible. This is very concerning.
It's a sentiment shared by fellow Triton and Palau native Elena Alonso, who says it's because of federal aid that she's able to seek higher education.
Really suck to just have the decision of like one person so far away changing my whole entire life.
And while the Trump administration has not yet provided specific details on how it would abolish the US DOE or what that would look like, student loan borrowers can take steps to protect themselves, including downloading their loan data in case of any disruptions. To note, the US DOE currently oversees $1.6 trillion in student loan debt owed by 42 million Americans. In response, Guam's Congressman James Moylan says this would remove the red tape of federal bureaucracy in getting federal funding. The delegate adding, while the Trump White House has not yet provided much information to Congress on its plan to abolish the federal DOE and what it entails, we have been informed that most funding for indigent families or underserved communities, including in the territories, will not be gravely impacted. The efforts would empower state and territorial school boards to adopt curriculum instead of being mandated to accept federal standards in lieu of securing certain funds. You can read his full statement on KUAM.com.
Well, after 2 previous attempts, Guam Community College is launching their Youth Build program to help young adults gain hands-on training in trade skills while learning their high school diploma.
It's a major step in Guam's workforce development, but with the Trump administration's recent push to freeze federal funding, similar programs could be at risk. Nevaeh Anderson has more.
Now, 66 students will have the chance to gain life-changing skills while also giving back to the community. GCC President and CEO Dr. Mary Okada saying,
GCC programs are affecting and equipping our island residents with in-demand skills that are needed and vital for the industries here on Guam.
And program specialist Pete Roberto says this is more than just construction training. The program offers a full spectrum of support, mentorship, case management, and even mental health resources to help students overcome challenges and prepare for long-term careers.
You become employable, you become proud. You become proud, guess what, we're making a change in our community.
Students will also take part in a living lab where they'll start with renovating a housing unit and eventually grow their skills to tackle building an entire home from the ground up.
We have already identified a unit.
And yet, dark clouds are on the horizon with the threat of President Trump's intention to freeze federal funding. Okada saying Youth Build is fully funded for now, backed by a grant from the U.S. Department of Labor.
And we are moving forward as the grant application has already been awarded to us.
While Youth Build moves forward, other institutions are already feeling the impact of federal funding concerns. The University of Guam and Sea Grant already bracing for potential cuts, sending out furlough notices to some of their employees.
What if federal funds were no longer available? Right now, the college is solid. The college is solid in terms of its ability to deliver career and technical education courses, to continue to support our boot camps, to continue to support our students.
Meanwhile, the Guam Department of Education says at this time there are no cuts and GDOE will continue to implement programs as planned. Youth Build is a major opportunity for Guam's young adults, equipping them with the skills to enter the workforce and contribute to our community. Nevaeh Anderson, KUAM News.
An overnight fire in Dededo sparked zoning concerns for the property where firefighters battled the flames for nearly an hour.
The fire burned through parked cars and a 40-foot container. Neighbors are now sounding off on how this should have never happened. This as the investigation is ongoing into the cause of the fire. Smoke filled the air along Uhang Street in Machechi, Dededo Tuesday night. Firefighters with the Guam Fire Department responding to this lot where multiple cars and a 40-foot container caught fire. The heavy smoke quickly becoming a concern for those living in this residential street. Epimania Laksamana's home was just steps away from the burning rubble.
I just came home and then when I go out to my car, I smell something and then I thought my car became overheat.
Laksamana's worries only growing from what she spotted nearby.
Oh, it's burning. It's really, there's a fire, I said. I got nervous and then I am calling 911.
Her neighbor across the street had already called for help after hearing an explosion. GFD asked residents to temporarily evacuate, shut their windows and turn off their air conditioning.
I I'm nervous. Our car, we put our car in the back.
She noticed embers flying toward her garage. Other neighbors like Warrington Dalrymple also noticing what is happening so close to his home.
I was lying on the couch, watching television, and then all of a sudden the power went out. Checked my phone, it was exactly 6 o'clock. And that's the wife said she heard an explosion, but I didn't hear it. Nothing but black smoke. Nothing but black smoke.
The flames were put out in about an hour. No one was injured. GFD confirming the property is a lot that a construction company uses as storage. But the fire sparked an even bigger concern for those that call this place home.
It's a residential area, and there should not be any construction material stored over here.
So
that's the very first thing that went to my mind. And I knew eventually it was going to happen one day. It was going to happen. And today was that day.
He encourages the Dededo mayor to do something about it. Mayor Peter Beneventi tells KUAM he went by the property and told the owner the area is not zoned for storing construction material. Metal Bias says his construction company, AB Murr, is no longer operating.
Actually, this is my daughter's property, and I just use it for storing it. And no construction for almost 4 years already.
Any idea what could have caused the fire?
I don't really.
He assures authorities that he will clean it up.
Of course, I'm worried. Yeah, actually, I'm cleaning it up for the past 2 weeks because I'm planning to chip all those grasses and woods.
Okay.
And I'm planning to rent a wood cheaper like that.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
What happened is what fire investigators are now trying to find out. Mother Amy Jackson says the moment she heard her son had cancer was nothing short of earth-shattering.
Jonah Gintrefra shares the heartbreaking yet inspiring journey of 11-year-old Chifey Jackson.
So what I mainly do at the hospital while I'm taking chemo is either playing card games, playing video games. I like to listen to like Boy with Fuke, Chloe Kai, Noah Kahan, Machine Gun Kelly.
Meet 11-year-old Chifey Jackson, a bright, fun-loving kid whose life took an unimaginable turn. Last June, Chifey's parents, Amy and Steve Jackson, made a life-changing decision, leaving their home in Guam to move to Ohio, closer to Amy's family. They had no idea how critical that move would become. On August 30th, Amy took Chifey to a clinic, hoping to get antibiotics for a persistent cough he had had since Guam. What happened next shattered their world.
To the clinic several times, and they thought maybe it was just allergies or adjusting to the weather.
But it wasn't just allergies. A chest x-ray revealed a large mass in Chifey's chest, so massive it had pushed his heart to the left side.
They just knew that something was in his lungs because they didn't know what it was. And the next day they took a biopsy and they knew it was cancer. They didn't know what kind of cancer. But he couldn't breathe and he couldn't sit up straight, and it was just like the worst time of our life.
Chifey was diagnosed with Ewing-like sarcoma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer known as B-core. Thankfully, the Jacksons found hope at the Cleveland Clinic, a world-renowned medical center where Chifey is receiving specialized care.
I promised the doctors when we first started our journey that I wasn't going to Google anything, because it takes you down this rabbit hole of worst-case scenarios. And I didn't want to do that.
For Amy, the news was devastating, but her son's strength inspires her every day.
I'm an empath, and I felt terrible because he had just started school. He'd only gone to school for 2 weeks. And you know, your mind automatically goes to these like worst case scenarios, right? And I watched we've watched all the movies about cancer and all these things, and that's why I promised him that I wasn't going to Google anything, because anybody who's ever come across Chifey just knows that he's a sweet, happy, like he's freaking awesome.
Every 2 to 3 weeks, Chifey endures intense chemotherapy. In between, he undergoes blood work and sometimes blood or platelet transfusions.
And I'm scared.
They'll be accessing his port for the first time, so he's a little bit anxious.
Chifey faces 14 rounds of chemo before doctors reassess his condition. Through it all, the family has been uplifted by an outpouring of love and support.
it's overwhelming. My family's always been the one, has always been the one to help people, and to be on the other side of that is very humbling, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm not used to being on the receiving end of everything, and it's a lot, but it's very much appreciated. Sometimes I wish I was home because you miss that island support, just being surrounded with the people that you grew up with, and we miss that, and we feel it when like with the videos and just the messages, like we feel it, and we miss it. We miss everybody.
If you'd like to support Chifey on his cancer journey, visit KUAM.com for links to his GoFundMe page and Amazon wishlist. And follow Chifey's cancer journey and what he's up to on TikTok. The account is handled by his mom at AmyJackson671. Jonathan Charfres, KUAM News.
And Chifey's family is a part of the KUAM family here. We wish him all the best.
Definitely, we stand Chifey strong.
Yes, we do. Up next, after 4 years of waiting, the man accused in the murder of Michael Castro could finally get his day in court.
Plus, an indictment is handed down against a boat owner accused of smuggling Chinese nationals to Guam. You're watching KUAM.
Look at the landscape of sports media, there's different gaps that we kind of saw that we can fill on a more creative front. With social media, we found our way into this new space of what sports offers on the island. Growing up in Alahan, early on we understood this whole notion of community.
Overall, we're a sports media company. When Clutch started, it was just me and Dom. We would have our own camera, edit, post, University of YouTube, baby.
It didn't feel like work at the time, right? So for us, the biggest challenge was just how are we going to sustain this business? We offer in-house uniform production, fashion, our new launch on the music side, Clutch Music. We're never afraid to go out of the box and just see what sticks, right? See what the audience gravitate towards. Sports is elevating on the island, so I just envision us keeping on the same path and growing as the sports community continues to grow.
Are you tired of standing in long lines waiting to ship out or send out packages? GU Mail is here for you. Visit their friendly staff in Harmon next to McDonald's. We offer private mailbox service with package notification via email or WhatsApp. Shipping from DHL, FedEx, UPS, and USPS. We also offer shipping and freight service, packaging supplies, printing, and copy available. GU Mail, here for your convenience. NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus with Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
Welcome back to Primetime. Murder defendant Nicholas Moore's trial is expected to take 4 to 5 months for the defense to argue its case in court.
Well, Moore stands accused in the murder of Michael Castro. He appeared before Judge Maria Senzon in Superior Court today. The case is nearly 4 years old. Trial now expected to be sometime in August. Prosecutors say they expect to call 10 to 15 witnesses. Defense intending to call upwards of 50 witnesses, taking up a majority of the estimated time at trial. Among the witnesses, Eric Salone, who was arrested in Moore's separate drive-by shooting case. A man accused in a home invasion in Asin gets 3 years ago, learned Charfres pleaded guilty to illegal weapons possession charges. Judge Maria Senzon sentencing him to 5 years in prison with credit for the time he already served. Prosecutors agreeing to dismiss the home invasion, burglary, and illegal drug charges. He was ordered to stay away from the victim. The court noting his criminal history goes back to 1994. Charfres telling the judge he takes full responsibility for his actions while also blaming the government for not helping him turn his life around.
A manslaughter convict serving 15 years in prison admitted to criminal charges filed against him in a separate case. Defendant Branty Wallaby pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct and criminal mischief in Superior Court today. The case unfolded in February 2022. Wallaby got into a street fight before damaging the victim's car with a large rock. While he was only given a 1-year sentence in this case, Wallaby is currently serving 15 years in connection to a deadly attack along Fatima Road that claimed the life of Arnold Naroon.
A man accused of smuggling Chinese nationals from Saipan to Guam is indicted in the District Court of the Northern Mariana Islands. Zhou Peng is facing charges of conspiracy and aiding and abetting transportation of illegal aliens, conspiracy to defraud the U.S., and making a false statement. Court documents state he aided and abetted the transportation of more than 6 illegal aliens who were not authorized to enter the territory. Peng stands accused of conspiring with others in providing false information to Homeland Security Investigations Task Force officers. He allegedly told authorities that he purchased a boat to start a fishing business, and that he did not intend to use the boat to go to Guam. Now for your world at home.
Here's a view captured from Bear Rock in Inalahan. Biba.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Hey, Coach, real quick, because we're so close to competition, what are you having the players do as far as like making sure they're doing conditioning, but they're not going so overboard?
Yeah, so basically we're just trying to maintain, get the core a lot stronger, just get their muscles. Right now, because we were so close, we're not trying to build any, get bulk or anything. Just stay strong, stay fit, and get our core a lot stronger.
It's one thing if you're getting posted up by a guy like the same size as you, but you guys are facing guys that are literally like 7'1", 250 and everything like that. You need endurance throughout the course of a game.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we can't do anything about height. You know, I mean, that's one thing. You know, Guam has always been a smaller team when we go out and compete. And so, you know, we got to be conditioned, we got to be in shape, and we got to be able to run up and down and you know, I mean, fight, claw, you know, pull, push, do whatever we can just to battle. You know, and again, you know, when you're talking about that level of competition, you know, every ball, loose ball counts. So, you know, that's what you got to do. This level, right? The speed and the players, the skills. I mean, everybody got to be pretty quick, but you still got to be strong, right? So, you know, you got to be able to defend all positions.
This is more than just a game. It's a chance to show our island pride and a rare chance to enjoy high-level FIBA action, live and in person. Don't miss the basketball event of the year. Let's go, Guam!
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Hey, Lise, what's in the bag? A barbecue bacon QPC from McDonald's.
Oh, you mean the Angel Reese special? I'll play you for it.
I've been waiting for you, OG. And if I win, McDonald's on me. But you know my game, right?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Let them know.
Oye, vámonos, let's get it.
I got something for you, Aaliyah.
All right, let me see it. Let me see it. Now she blocked it. Yo, Stewie, when it takes the bag.
Golly, right here with you. Right here with you.
Nothing but net. Get the Angel Reese special at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hope, hope, hooray is the theme. Our friends over at Ukadu High, right? The Bulldogs are getting you absolutely healthy, informed, and happy with this health fair they got going on. Stop by the fair and enjoy a whole bunch of really, really cool things. Make sure to pass by. Hey, good things happening up in Dedido over at Ukadu High. All right, good things happening down in Inalahan too, because this Saturday they are having the Gadao Giza Inalahan 2K, 5K. Shout out to my friend Shista who is making this happen. Wonderful people. Mike Weekly. They are making wonderful things, and there's breakfast afterwards in only the way that the Southern community can do it. You overlook the bay, you got Get Pago, and that's absolutely wonderful. I love Inalahan. And the Guam Women's Club is presenting their 69th Mardi Gras Festival, so make sure to check it out. The Roaring 20s is the theme, so bring your very best. You may have to go on Amazon and buy some new clothes, but that's totally cool. You are going to dress to impress, and that's what they want you to do over the Guam Women's Club. And we want you to get involved in not just one, not just two, all three events, because that's what News Bites is for.
Well, someone just had a birthday.
Ooh, now for your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shout out submitted on KUAM.com.
We have got some absolutely next level birthday shout outs, guys. So let's get to it right now because these are really, really good. All right. Happy birthday to Terry Jo Estachio. And right off the bat, to my firstborn, my first love. Happy 17th birthday. So proud of the young lady you are becoming. Love you so much. Abraham Fausto, happy birthday to you. Turning 69 years old this February 12th. Happy birthday to you. Caleb Mesa, happiest of birthdays. Turning the big 7 today. We love you, Caleb. Happy birthday number 1 to Zane Cepeda Lim. To our bundle of joy and a true blessing in our lives, Zane, we love you. Say Papa, Grandma, and the family. Happy birthday to AJ Chaco, our favorite son, as you continue to navigate college and the world. All right. May the Lord guide you with wisdom, strength, and endless opportunities. Your family says, we love you. Man, have fun in college, man. Great job. Go get your education. That's awesome. And a happy belated birthday wish to the one and only Major Eric Mali, the leader of the Salvation Army Guam Corps. Keep up the good work from the Salvation Army Guam Advisory Board and your friends here at KUAM.
Happy birthday to all of you celebrating out there today. That's your primetime show. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Have a great evening and stay beautiful.
Caught up in a legal land dispute for nearly half a decade. Hafaday, I'm Nick Delgado. Welcome to The Hub, where America's stories begin. That's the reality for a local man who now joins us here on The Hub. Eddie Kirigua, Hafaday.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Of course, and you've been speaking with us for months now, sharing with us all that you've been through in and out of the judicial system and whoever you spoke to in the legal community to try and secure a property that was Dad's.
Correct.
My condolences, of course, but he passed away back in 2015, was
16,
it?
2016, yes.
That's quite some time ago. And to this day, you're still caught up and entangled in court. Tell the viewers a little bit about you and what your goal is.
Sure. Well, Nick, thank you for allowing me to be here. My goal is to provide awareness, to let people know that property fraud is very, very on the rise right now. And my personal story, I want to put out there because for the past couple of years, like you said, my father passed away in 2016. It's 2025 now. What are we still doing here? What am I still arguing about? Well, there's a lot of inaction on the government agencies that are supposed to be responsible for protecting us. They happen to be the ones that actually harm me in this situation. And I just want to address and put out there the awareness of what I've been going through and try to get some action done in regards to it. It's no longer allegations.
Okay, so in 2016, Dad passed away. At what point were you involved and what happened from there?
So in 2016, my father passed away. A couple years later, you fast forward that to 2020, I'm working with KUAM DOE. I come home and I get a letter of eviction. I'm wondering what's this about. Apparently, my stepmother and half-brother hired an attorney who filed an unlawful detainer action against me and then eventually evicted me out of my own home. What happened was after I got evicted, I started to review the paperwork and noticed that the conveyance that my stepmother used back in 2016, the notary public on it, she had an expired stamp and seal used on that. So I ran with that. I filed a police report. I filed a consumer complaint with the OAG. And 3 years later, I'm still trying to I'm chasing responses basically from these people. And I just recently discovered just new evidence this January. And it's brought me to this point here, speaking to you today.
What was part of the proof that they were trying to show you that you have to leave this property right now?
Well, that's just the thing. When I went into court, prior to that, I just finished my divorce and child custody, so I had the late Frank Tautau representing me. I asked him to take a look at the case before I actually went into trial. He called me back the day before and he said, Ed, you're going to be okay. Show up to court on time, let the judge know I looked into your case and property's still under your father's estate, not the attorney's, not your half-brother. I don't know how or why he filed this lawsuit, but go in there and tell them that the property is under the estate of your father. The judge should dismiss the case or the attorney should withdraw completely.
Okay.
So that's what I did, but it didn't work out that way. Nothing's fair in the justice system or equal. And because of financial constraints, I couldn't get an attorney. And so I had to represent myself. And in that trial, as I started to relay this information to them.
There was a trial?
Yeah, there was a trial, yes, yes. In a summary proceedings for an unlawful detainer. It's like a 30-minute hearing. It's very basic. All it is you're in a house that you're not supposed to be in, and the owner wants you out. So it's very basic. There's anything extra. In this case, though, I showed up and said, this person that's claiming to be the owner is not. It's still under my father's estate. They should have dismissed it, or the attorney should have withdrawn, but he didn't. They allowed him to continue, and then he provided fraudulent documents in court, and that's the documents that they used to evict me. I ended up finding out this information afterwards, and then I filed a police report, and then it's been 3 years, and nobody wants to touch this. Why? Because fraudulent evidence is in play, and the attorney that filed the unlawful detainer action is a high-profile attorney. On top of that, the Office of Attorney General, who handles these type of criminal felonies, these fraudulent conveyances, and they actually assisted my stepmother in transferring the property originally back to my father. Okay. So there's a bunch of complex things that actually happened, but the bottom line is that based off of fraudulent documents created by my stepmother, who used her sister, who worked at Department of Land Management, to facilitate these fraudulent documents, 3 court proceedings transpired after that, now based off of fraud. And just recently, in this January, I found the original creator of the documents that my grandmother created to transfer these properties into her kids, which is one of them is my father. That's attorney Jay Ariola. He was the original creator. So time-stamped, the time you come in, the instrument number, it's all chronological order. In order for my stepmother to succeed in actually transferring this property to her, she had to alter all of the documents filed under this specific day. And I just found out in January that these documents are fraudulent. So she removed original documents through her sister who worked at Department of Land Management. They replaced them with fraudulent documents that are currently under Department of Land Management as certified copies. Nobody wants to touch this case. I emailed the OAG, a GPD, I filed a police report. I've been getting no responses back. It's been frustrating. This is about 3 years that I've been doing this.
Leaving my phone and bush cutter outside. What's gonna happen? Ooh. Yep. Oh, take it. Come on, bro. It's free. Bro. Yo. Bro. Bro. Just take it.
Looking to ditch your old phone?
Take it.
Trade into Guam's most reliable network and get an extra $300 off the latest phones on any unlimited plan. GTA, we start with you.
New year, new me. A year of possibilities starts now, and it all begins at Kmart. From health to home, we got everything you need to start fresh and thrive in the new year. Kickstart healthy habits with pantry essentials and nutritious options for your family. Keep your home sparkling with cleaning solutions designed to make life easier and fresher. Looking to crush your fitness goals? Find workout gear and activewear to get you moving. Need to revamp your style? Check out our newest apparel for the whole family. And for the heart of your home, discover appliances and home goods to make your life easier and more comfortable. Busy families, moms on the go, and everyone in between. Kmart is here for you. A fresh start is just one shopping trip away. Kmart. New year, new me, a year of possibilities. Find it all at Kmart.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus with Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
And for 3 years since Dad passed, you were in that home. You were staying on that property.
Yes, yes.
Was there anything that he left behind that said, son, this is for you? Or did he say that?
Well,
I'm sure that's a question that...
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing. So the reason why this never planned out was because my father owed child support arrears. He owed, in 2002, when these properties were deeded to him, or my grandmother deeded the properties to her kids, my father specifically didn't accept it because he owed over 50 grand in child support arrears. So for all these years, he never accepted the property. So right before I got evicted, we went to child support services. My mother, who stayed with me, who was evicted with me, we went to child support services and we were like, hey, I'm about to get evicted. He owes child support. Apparently he transferred this property to my brother right before his death. How is that possible? Well, they didn't do anything. They just said it's out of our scope. You have to hire an attorney. So we were like, wow, okay. So I go through the trial, and that's what became of it. But I actually got the court transcripts of a child support hearing that he and my stepmother attended a month before he passed away, and a month before this fraudulent deed was created. In the court transcripts, he specifically says that he does not own the property. He denies his interest, and he identifies as my auntie the one that owns it. And at the time, my auntie did own it. My stepmother created a fraudulent conveyance right before he died, made him sign it, filed it through her sister, and started telling the story that my father was the original rightful owner of this property when really he was not. And she played this narrative, and she made the OAG, the Office of Attorney General, file a petition in court to have it investigated. And what ended up happening was the OAG investigated it. They took my auntie to court based off the fraudulent documents that my stepmother created. And then they transferred the property back to my father's estate, who we never owned the property ever. And now it legitimized the fraudulent deed.
Wow.
Then she orchestrated the eviction and everything after that. So there's 3 court cases that transpired off of these fraudulent documents. Nobody wants to go up against this. I went to 39 attorneys. After I said the whole entire story and provided the evidence, they're like, conflict of interest with the attorney that I'm alleging assisted with them. Went to nonprofit agencies. First I was approved of it, and then only until after I provided all the evidence, they come back and they're like, sorry, we can't help you. Lack of funds, lack of attorneys. So access to the justice system is non-existent here when it's against other attorneys. And that's what I'm here today for, is to bring awareness to that. We see it in the media right now, the OAG and the governor and all of these people just clashing right now. And I think that a lot of it has to do with my case as well. And it got to a point to where nobody's being held accountable for these. They're just throwing out, pointing fingers. My case clearly shows systemic failures and injustices documented. These are not allegations anymore. J. Ariola's law firm proved and confirmed that these documents housed are fraudulent, or not fraudulent, but are not the documents that he created.
They're not the originals.
Not the originals. So how did these documents come into play?
Yeah.
For the past 3 years, I've been yelling fraud, forgery, identity theft, and I've been ignored, only to find out 3 years later that it's not just one document, there's 12 documents, and it's all filed under Department of Land Management.
That are fraudulent.
Correct.
Or believed to be fraudulent.
Correct. And nobody wants to touch this. I've been emailing on a regular basis. I provided you the paperwork. It's not a nice email. I am angry, I am furious, I'm enraged, because it could have stopped 3 years ago when I first encountered it, but for whatever reason, they just didn't want to do it. And now it's added up, and now the whole entire story is about to be broken, out here in public now.
Right.
I'm gonna push for it. I just can't walk away from this.
Thank you for sharing that, Eddie, your response and how it's impacting you emotionally and just, I'm sure financially, because you have to spend your time there. But walk me back to when the trial was happening and what happened when you were left there just to kind of represent yourself in the courtroom to try and get action and move this forward. What happened?
So I went into the courtroom, right, and the judge immediately was like, would you like time to get representation? And I was like, I'm sorry, it's not necessary, I can't afford it. So he allowed me to proceed as pro se, representing myself. I was armed with the information that Gary Gumatata gave me. So in that courtroom, as I'm trying to fight for, my right to be in this home, and I say that the property is not under not under my brother, but it's under the estates of my father, that throws them off completely. Not even the attorney was aware of that. It should have been dismissed, but the judge, because I'm a pro se defendant, I'm not represented by an attorney, literally doesn't take anything that I'm saying into consideration. I try to defend it. The attorney starts to say that he has a deed of gift from his client. He acknowledges the property not being under his client.
A deed of gift from the client being
my brother.
Yep.
Yeah. So he acknowledges, after I say that the property is under the estates, the judge asks the attorney, is that true? And he finally looks at the paperwork in court and he's like, yes, but my client has a deed of gift. And the judge is like, he has a deed of gift from the person of the estates? He goes, yes. I object to that. And I'm like, I object. A deed of gift doesn't, so an unlawful detainer action is for possession, physical possession. A deed of gift only conveys interest to a property. It doesn't grant legal possession. So I told the judge, I said, I object to this evidence because a deed of gift only conveys interest to a property. It doesn't grant physical possession. And this civil lawsuit is for physical possession. He got extremely pissed off. he was like, excuse me, I gave you the right, I gave you a chance to get a continuance to seek legal representation. And I was like, okay. And he goes, so because you waived your rights, that's where we're at.
Super speed your life with Docomo Pacific Fiber Internet. Get symmetrical upload and download speeds up to 5 gigs. Get started with Fiber 500 at $145 a month, Fiber 1 gig at $215 a month, or Fiber 5 gig at $299 a month. Plus, get 2 SuperPod 6Es with any plan, and a free EcoFlow River 3 and bonus welcome kit with 1 gig and 5 gig plans. Experience tomorrow's islands today with Docomo Pacific Fiber Internet.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
But I thought you told me you would represent the self-representation.
I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be. But he tells me literally that because I waived my right to counsel, only licensed attorneys can make statements, proper defenses, and objections in court. Have
you inquired with another attorney about this? About
Yeah. You know, the crazy part about this is that I actually recorded it.
Yeah.
Okay. This court hearing should have been recorded. There should have been transcripts. But because it went so far south in it, I mean, the bombshell of it not being under the attorney's client was enough to shut it down. But because it went further into that, there's no record of the minute entry report on file. Thankfully, I have my audio recording. So when I went to different attorneys and I was like, check this out, I recorded it, here's the thing. They listened to it the first 5 minutes, they're like, turn it off, I don't want it. They don't, I guess it's because of the way I got the recording, and you're not supposed to record. I don't know what the legal standpoint is, but it should have been recorded there, but it wasn't. So
maybe not being admissible as evidence, but
right. They just didn't want it. It's disturbing
to work off.
It's disturbing to hear, because you hear me clearly say, I object to the deed of gift as admissible evidence, and I kindly request you to dismiss this case. He goes, no, excuse me. He's like, no, stop. I'm going to continue this. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, for you to get legal representation. And I was just like, that's crazy. You know, the only documentation that I do have is the minute entry report. It does say that the client or the defendant will proceed today pro se. And then on the bottom of that minute entry report, it says continuing for 2 weeks for the defendant to seek legal representation. But the truth is he didn't continue that for 2 weeks for me to seek legal representation. He continued that hearing for the attorney to withdraw, not to proceed and submit fraudulent documents. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit, so that continuance stopped for a whole year and a half. But the moment the pandemic was lifted and everything was put back into place, the attorney filed for continuance. I never got the documents that he submitted in that was fraudulent. And by the time I showed up to court, they were like, you're out, get out of here. You're not supposed to be in here. I had to tell the judge, and I had to tell, because the attorney actually, during the pandemic, requested a reassignment of a judge.
Okay.
So it originally started with CISON and it ended with KUAM. So when I had KUAM, I told him the whole entire situation. I even provided him the child support case. The certificate of title that the attorney submitted, it was crazy. It's fraudulent on its face value, because it says that my brother is the owner as of November 8, 2019. Well, the court cases that took place in regards to ownership was on appeal, pending the decision between my auntie and my father's estate.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with my brother on it.
Okay.
The fact that he produced a certificate of title during that, My entire case, the unlawful detainer action, was during a pending appeal that has yet to be determined of original ownership, and it has nothing to do with my brother. So from the onset of this whole entire situation, there was procedural errors and problems that existed from the very beginning that the judges, the attorneys were all just negligent, and it's insane.
Sounds like a messy situation.
It's disturbing, and
Yeah.
I'm not an attorney. I had to learn this as I went along, and it played out in real time. It bothers me 3 years later that here I am fighting for like fraud, forgery, and trying to get justice for this, when really the bigger problem is not the initial fraud. It's the procedures and all these cases that happened because of that fraud, and all of these negligent people that didn't take notice of it and should have responded, and it never should have happened.
Yeah.
So now the reason why I'm still fighting for it is because the Office of Attorney General is the one that assisted my stepmother in the transfer. So they don't want any part of it. They're like, what? Okay, we overlooked these things, but they're not acknowledging it. I went to the regulatory committee to file against the attorney. I sent you the letter of dismissal. In that document, I alleged all these different things that actually happened. Like I said, they're not allegations anymore. These are concrete proof. They neglected to mention the direct evidence that I have, which is a child support hearing where my father denies his interest to the property with my stepmother attending there. If they acknowledged just that portion of it, everything, all 3 cases are washed. Because of
It'll start to make sense, I'm sure, to them.
Because her narrative was, he's the rightful owner. He transferred this property before he died to my son. We should have it. His sister has it when she shouldn't. It's his. But it was all based off of fraudulent documents. And the key player in this whole thing is her sister that worked for Department of Land Management. That is the tip of the spear. And she just retired November of last year. So when these proceedings were happening since 2017, she was in complete control of all the documents that the Office of Attorney General used in court, including managing it there at the offices. The regulatory committee, when they dismissed my complaint, they identified certain things. They also responded to the Department of Land Management when I alleged that the notary on the document of the fraudulent conveyance hasn't expired still, and it's colored in. I'm not sure if you saw the document, but you can't see the expiration date, nothing. That's invalid. There's not that many requirements that an employee has to do when they're registering the documents, but part of the requirements is it has to be legible. You have to see it. You don't have to confirm if the notary is actually valid or not, but you have to be able to read it. That's a clear sign. You can't read it. And the fact that she registered a property and the grantor on that document is not even the owner on file. It was my auntie, and this document came from my father. It's just a big mess, and it never should have happened. And because of it, I got kicked out of my house.
In 2019?
In 2021.
Okay.
I was evicted. I was court ordered, and I was evicted. I couldn't find any alternative to move to, because I honestly didn't think I was going to lose. How could I lose when I have all this evidence?
Yeah.
So when I did get kicked out, by the time I had to move out, by the time I accepted it, I was pretty pissed off, and I couldn't move out on the day that I was required to. So the following day, court marshals came and kicked all of us out. I'd had all my property in this home. It was a few days later when I discovered the fraud, and I was like, oh my God, the notary, this is how she did it. I filed the report. I emailed the attorney that represented my stepmother, and I said, bro, I just found out that this whole thing is a sham. She tricked you. This is a fraudulent conveyance. All of this is all a fraud. Don't touch my stuff. I filed a police report. They're going to contact you. He actually responds back to me, and he says, thanks, Eddie. I'm sorry I'm on vacation right now. I'll take a look at the documents when I get back. But in the meantime, contact your stepmother. All of your things are being placed in storage. You can arrange to pick them up through her. And I was like, after I just told him that she just, okay, and you know what happened? I contacted her. She found out about the police report that I filed. She took all of my property and threw it out in the yard. She offered neighbors and everybody to come in and ask for it. My uncle calls me up and he says, Ed, did you get your things out of your house? And I go, no. And he goes, well, it's all in the yard. And man, it was a whole other level. Thankfully, my grandmother and my mother was able to hold me back. But
who's living there now?
It's being rented out.
Okay.
I filed the police report the moment I got evicted, and it's been 3 years. I filed it December 2021. It's still pending 2025, even with all the new information that I have. From the moment that I filed that police report and they didn't investigate her and they just kind of just brushed it off, she rented it out to people. My brother and her hasn't stayed there. She's been earning about $3,000 a month from the tenants for the past 3 years.
Okay.
And she hasn't been back on Guam since.
For 25 years, Cars Plus has been more than just a place to buy a car. When we opened our doors, our mission was clear: build lasting relationships and ensure every customer drives away with confidence. As a family business, we nurture our employees, passing down values of integrity and respect. We believe that strong values create strong relationships, ensuring that every customer who walks through our doors is treated like family. For 25 years, we've been driven by you and will continue to be for generations to come.
Clearly, Eddie, your fight is not over.
No.
We want to thank you, of course, for coming on here and
thank you.
sharing your story on the Hub. I want you to also, if you want to, look into the camera right there and just kind of share your message with our viewers and the legal community. What would you like from them?
Sure, yeah, thank you. First off, thank you for allowing me to come here and to tell my story. My main goal from this is to convey to everybody on Guam that actually owns a property listed under Department of Land Management. I recommend you go there and you look under your property and you request documents, everything filed under that property, and to verify it, to double check to see if anything is out of the ordinary. I strongly suggest you guys do that because I have concrete proof that the properties that my grandmother transferred to her kids back in 2002, they were all altered and they're all fraudulent. So I'm assuming that this is not the only isolated case. So I want everybody to keep in mind that this is a very big deal. And I suggest anybody that owns property to go down to the Department of Land Management and to verify that. And secondly, to the offices of the Attorney General, GPD, to the Guam Judiciary, I want you to know that my efforts over the past 3 years hasn't been isolated to just you guys. That I've been contacting everybody, to the DOJ, to the FBI. It's only a matter of time before outside intervention comes in and really investigates these crimes committed and the inaction by all of you. I hope that by coming here, you will see what my true determination is. I refuse to be ignored. This is my home. These are my things. This is my life. And I'm a father of two, a single father. And this is what it's about. I'm trying to provide for my family, and I refuse to be treated this way. We need accountability on the island. And the fact that you guys keep talking and going back and forth with each other doesn't help anybody. But this is a real problem that you can deal with now. And I hope that by seeing this and me coming forward proves to you how far I'm willing to take it to make sure I get justice for it. Thank you, everybody.
Good job there, Eddie, and thank you so much for speaking to our viewers and for coming in. We wish you all the best. We'll continue to follow the story to see what develops with the findings and the evidence that you've since uncovered.
Yes.
Again, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you also for watching this episode of The Hub, where America's stories begin. I'm Nick Delgado. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.